Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Go Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16, How Parikshit received the age of Kali, text number 4. Nijagraha Jasavira Kaling Digvidaya Kvachit Nripalinga Darang Sudram Ghanantham Go Vitaram Pada 116.4. Nijagraha Jasavira Kaling Digvidaya Kvachit Nripalinga Darang Sudram Grantham Gomitanam Pada Nijagraha Jasavira Kaling Digvijaya Kvachit Nipalinga Darang Sudram Grantham Gomitanam Pada. Kaling Vijaya Kvachit Nipalingam Darang Sudram Ganantam Gomitanam Pada Nijagraha Jasavira Kaling Vijaya Kvachit Nipalinga Darang Sudram Ganantam Gomitanam Pada. Anyone online like to chant? Nijagraha, sufficiently punished. Ojasa, by prowess. Vira, valiant hero. Kalin, unto Kali, the master of the age. Digvijaya, on his way to conquer the world. Kvachit, once upon a time. Nripalinga Dharam, one who passes in the dress of a king. Sudram, the lower class. Vanantam, hunting. Gomitunam, a cow and bull. Pada, on the leg. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Once, when Mahaprabhu was on his way to conquer the world, he saw the master of Kali Yuga, who was lower than a Sudra, disguised as a king, and hurting the legs of a cow and bull. The king at once caught hold of him to deal sufficient punishment. Purport. The purpose of a king's going out to conquer the world is not for self-aggrandizement. Mars Bricket went out to conquer the world after his ascendance to the throne. But this was not for the purpose of aggression on other states. He was the emperor of the world, and all small states were already under his regime. His purpose in going out was to see that things were going on in terms of the godly state. The king, being the representative of the Lord, has to execute the will of the Lord duly. There is no question of self-aggrandizement. Thus, as soon as Maharaj Bricket saw that a lower class man in the dress of a king was hurting the legs of a cow and a bull, at once he arrested and punished him. The king cannot tolerate insults to the most important animal, the cow, nor can he tolerate disrespect for the most important man, the Brahmana. I was at a university once, and I was talking to one student how the cow has given us so much. They've given us milk and butter and cheese and yogurt and ghee, so many nice things. But in return, we cut her throat. They said, no. Then she gives her body too. Man, this person's just got a heart of a stone, you know. They're not giving. They know they're gonna be punished. Sometimes they run away, and there's so much crying. They're not stupid. They know. It's not that they're willingly giving their body for the human beings. No, they don't want to die. Just like nobody wants to die. When Mrs. Prabhupada said there's war because of this, killing the cow, killing the bull. Human civilization means to advance the cause of Brahminical culture and to maintain it. Cow protection is essential. There is a miracle in milk, for it contains all the necessary vitamins to sustain human physiology, conditions, or physiological conditions for higher achievements. Brahminical culture can advance only when man is educated to develop the qualities of goodness. And for this there is a prime necessity of food prepared with milk, fruits, and grains. Also milk, especially hot milk, it helps nourish the brain cells to understand spiritual subject matter. It's amazing, miracle. Some devotees that would just live off milk. You know that pastime of Lord Chaitanya, he was doing his kirtans, and no one was allowed in. This was early on, before they went on to kirtan in the streets. And some wanted to go in and experience it. And there was one devotee who only drank milk. And he went to Srivas Thakur, begging, please, to allow me to go in, please. And he was aware that this young Brahmana was very austere, just drinking milk. And he kept on begging, and eventually said, all right, come on. So he hid him inside. And Lord Chaitanya said, well, I'm not feeling ecstasy. Why? There's someone here that shouldn't be here. He said, oh, there's only devotees, Lord Chaitanya. Yeah, but someone's here. He said, yeah, there's someone here, but he only drinks milk. He only survives on milk. And Lord Chaitanya said, you can't achieve me simply by just drinking milk. Get him out of here. So he had to leave. But although he had to leave, He was so happy because he got those moments in the kirtan with Lord Chaitanya. He was so happy. So he was going away. He was in bliss. Even though he was chastised, he was in bliss. And Lord Chaitanya, he's in the hearts of everyone. He told Srivas Thakur, go ahead, send him back, bring him back. Because he was innocent and pure. So he came back and he was part of the kirtan now. He wasn't hiding. Now he's in the kirtan. Nectar. Imagine that. Maharaj Brigit was astonished to see that a black Sudra, dressed like a ruler, was mistreating a cow, the most important animal in human society. Like now you see the leaders all over the world, they're dressed in their nice tie and they got their nice suit and comb. I don't know how Trump, he combs his hair that very unusual. I don't know how he does that. But they look very paka, nice, but the hearts are just filthy. They're all meat eaters. They're all sanctioning the killing of cows and bulls. And I wouldn't want to be in their shoes because they accept 1/6 of the sins of everyone in the country. So not only they're getting their own karma, I mean, there's like, what is it, 340 million people in this country, and they're all doing sins. Man, oh man, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, So, but Pariksit Maharaj, he knows it's very sinful. Krishna is very fond of the cows. Therefore, it's Govinda. He gets put at the cows. He gets put at the cows and the senses. And also the Brahmana is very pleased with the Brahmanas, as it's mentioned here. Why? Because the Brahmanas, they lead society, actually. They're the real leaders. You got the kings, but the kings, they're taking guidance from the Brahmanas. The Pariksit Maharaj, he's a Rajarsi, he's a saintly king. Yudhisthira, Rajarsi, saintly. But they have their cabinet, which is all Brahmanas. And the Brahmanas are so powerful, like that King Vena. He was like the worst. So he was telling the Brahmanas that don't you know who I am? You're worshiping these other gods, but I'm God. And he stopped sacrifices. And the Brahmanas are so powerful, just by their words, they killed him. So powerful. And then who became the leader? Prithu. He was a real leader. He's the incarnation of administration. He was an expert, administrator, leader. The age of Kali means mismanagement and quarrel. It's like today is Good Friday. We call it Bad Friday because this is commemorating the day that apparently that he was, who knows what, because it's always the third Sunday. I think Easter is always the third Sunday of April. So who knows when it actually happened. But this is the day that he was nailed on the cross. So they call it Good Friday because he died for their sins. We call it Bad Friday for two reasons, because he died on the cross. It's terrible. He's a pure devotee. I think we heard yesterday, Prabhupada was in his room. He was at a hotel, and they had that cross with Jesus on it. And Prabhupada told the devotees, take that out of here. Do something with it. Because it was at a hotel, so you couldn't throw it away as part of the property. But hide it. I don't want to see that. They worship Christ, dying on the cross. No, a devotee doesn't want to see a devotee suffering. And the second reason is they use that, he died for our sins, so therefore we could sin. And they use that, as an excuse. We can go ahead and sin. Jesus, he's our Lord. He died for us, for our sins. So we could just, Kali Yuga. It's Kali. Actually, it's mentioned that Parikar Maharaj, when he was cursed to die in 7 days, Prabhupada mentioned in his purport that he thought, well, this is good because Kali Yuga is coming. I'm out of here. He didn't want to be here. Like things like this are happening in Kali Yuga. Saintly people are killed, and the followers of the saintly people, they're like, now we get sin because he's died for us. I mean, how'd they come up with that? It's amazing. The age of Kali means mismanagement and quarrel. We see a lot of that, huh? And the root cause of all mismanagement and quarrel is that worthless men with the modes of lower class men who have no higher ambition in life come to the helm of state management. Well, that's the root cause of all mismanagement and quarrel, because the leaders aren't leaders. The Tevadu Svartha Gatinghi Vishnu, Darasye Bharyarthimaya, and Hayatanja Upiniyama, Te Pisa Tram Tram Urdam. This is the verse that is quoted more than any other verse in Prabhupada's books. Interesting. People don't know what is actually valuable. What they're thinking is very valuable is sense gratification. Yeah. And the epitome of sense gratification is sex desire. Yanmaya Trinadi Grihamedi Sikam Vitusha. That sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands together to relieve an itch. And Grihamedis and so-called Grihastas think that this is the highest pleasure, but actually it's the cause of the greatest suffering. And devotees of the Lord, they do not take any pleasure in this. But this is the main attraction in the material world. But actually it's a cause of suffering. Just like you've heard of poison ivy. Yeah. Poison ivy, if it gets on your skin, basically you have to wait for the skin to flake off. Because it doesn't go away. And if you scratch it, because you know what dust is? Dust is skin. You know that? It's their body flaking off. So basically that's when the poison ivy stops. Itching is when the skin is changed, basically. And it's so, anybody have poison ivy? You ever get that before? Oh, it's so painful. It's torture. It's itching torture. But, so sex desire is like that. It's an itch. And it's also poison. It's a disease. Lust is a disease. So it'll come. The desire will be there. Anybody that has a material body, It's like one devotee went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I think I've become free of lust. Prabhupada said, I think there's something wrong with you. Because that's the natural function of the body. The lust is there. But it's a perverted reflection of our love for Krishna. So Prabhupada knew this is just a young boy, just thinking he'll impress Prabhupada. But no, it is possible. And I think it's in the Uddhava Gita, Krishna says, with the exception of you, Uddhava, no one is free of this sex desire. So it harasses the living entity. But it's an itch. Just like you get a mosquito bite. You've all had that, right? Yeah. So you scratch it. Everybody knows, don't do that. Because if you scratch, and then blood. Prabhupada was in one temple, I think it was Bombay, and one devotee Prabhupada noticed there was some mosquito bites on his foot or something. And Prabhupada was giving the class, he's just like this boy, he has mosquito bites. So if you scratch, and you scratch, and you scratch, and then eventually, blood. Yeah. So you tolerate it. So it's like that with sex desire. It'll come. Tolerate it, it'll go away. Plus, we also have this chanting of Hare Krishna that helps a lot. And reading Prabhupada's books, we hear that it's not good. Samsara kupe patitang vishavir muzitekstam grastan kalahinama konya tratum anisra. That the intelligence of the living entity is stolen away by the activities of sense gratification. And in that condition, one falls into the well of repeated birth and death. And within that well, one is seized by the deadly serpent of time. Interesting. Huh? Deadly serpent of time. One gets caught by this poison of sex desire, of material desire. You fall into the well of samsara, and you're seized by the deadly serpent of time. So time is pushing, just like we're in this human form. Fortunately, we're in the human form, and we're practicing Krishna consciousness. Most people have the human form, which is a great boon, but they're wasting it, engaging in so much sinful activity. So time is pushing them onto another body, go into another body. Prabhupada said, just like the living entity is being pushed around, just like a football. Soccer, football, you call it football, we call it soccer. So in football, they're kicking the ball around. And Prabhupada said, so the living entity is like that, just getting kicked around from one body to another. Time is pushing the living entity, one situation to another, suffering, different species of life. How many species of life? 8,400,000. It's a lot of species of life. We're just getting pushed around. But this is the loophole. The human form of life is the loophole, how to get out of this samsara chakra. Right. So we're very fortunate, but we had to understand how fortunate we are and don't go back again into the well of repeated birth and death. No. So here, Prabhupada continues, such men at the post of a king are sure to first hurt the cow and Brahminical culture, thereby pushing all society towards hell. Maharaj Pariksit, trained as he was, got the scent of this root cause of all quarrel in the world, thus he wanted to stop it in the very beginning. Om Jnana Tamanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshram Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukum Kotuvatalam Pumam Hayate Yat Kripa Talam Shri Gurum Dinataram Vanchakalpa Triyabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So Krishna has set up this varnashram so nicely that you have the brahmanas who are leading society. They're leading the kshatriyas. But now there's no brahmanas. Prabhupada said that he came here to create brahmanas. And now we have some, last night we had a pretty good class from a brahmana. That's a real brahmana there. He's very intelligent. Yeah, it's incredible. So many wonderful Burijan Prabhu and Kesava Swami, Radhanath Swami, so many. So many. We're going to see it this festival. I heard there's going to be 80 sannyasis there. I think it said 80 sannyasis. Unheard of before. So it'll be nice. So these are brahmanas that control their senses. There's godas. That means servant to the senses. There's a lot of those on the planet now. And then there's Goswami. Control the senses. There'll be an itch, but they control the itch. Let it go. Apurimanam machala patishtam samudra mahapapa vijanti yada tadvat kami yam santi sarvas santi abnoti. The kami. The one who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, which enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but which is always steady, alone achieves peace, and not the person who strives to satisfy such desires. So the desires will come. Sinful desire will come. Material desires will come. Let them go. Let them go. Like I have one friend, very nice devotee. Actually, one of my dear friends. He decided to get married, and things were going good. He had a son. The son was. He said the son was good when he was 3. That was the best. Now he's a teenager, and it's just problems. So the desires will come. Let them go. And we have a nice way to let them go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. But there's so many other desires that will come that are spiritual desires. We hold on to those. Keep the transcendental vibration going. Right? Vaisesika's famous statement. And any other vibration, kick it out. Kick it out. It's like social media. It's a material vibration, bewildering people all over the world, and devotees too. I mean, I was preaching in Russia, and I was explaining how there's so much distraction. We've been bombarded by mass weapons of distraction. So I asked some of the devotees there, because Facebook back then it was big, now it's not as big. Who here goes on Facebook? And practically everybody rose their hand. And one lady, she said, yeah, I'm addicted. That I spend 8 hours. 8 hours. What a waste. Huh? So all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, all these things, it's a distraction, actually. Of course, we have Dandavat, which is Krishna conscious television. Good news on the internet. We have ISKCON news also, which is also good. But all these other things, we want to become absorbed in Krishna. And this is our key. This is our key back to the spiritual world. And this is the desire of the soul is to be with Krishna, not to be in this world where there's so much forgetfulness of Krishna, so much Maya. So we either serve Maya or we serve Krishna. It's our choice. But if we serve Krishna, eventually, it's like Gopa Kumar. He went back to the spiritual world. And what happened when he went back to the spiritual world? He got the embrace of Krishna. We see that beautiful picture of Krishna embracing Gopa Kumar. So that's our destiny. If we surrender to Krishna, we continue keeping the transcendental vibration going. We get absorbed in Krishna. And what's going to happen? We're going to think of Krishna at the time of death. And then we go back to Krishna and we get the embrace of Krishna. Something to look forward to. There's so much to look forward to. You got everybody there is a pure devotee. Kalpavriksha tree is here. You get an apple from an apple tree. There, you get a samosa from an apple tree. You get sabji, you get vada, you get doshas. You get whatever you want. Kalpavriksha trees, and there's chintamani gems also, whatever you want. And what's most attractive for the spiritual world is Krishna is there, the most attractive Lord. Yeah. And he's everywhere. He's everywhere here also, but we can't see him. But there he's everywhere and everybody can see him. That's the difference. By this process of Krishna consciousness, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santaksadaiva Hridayesa Golokayanti Syama Sundar Machintya Gunasvarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamam. That I worship the primary Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He was always seen in his form of Syamasundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. It's a very interesting verse. Syamasundar is situated within the devotee's heart, whose eyes are smeared with the pulp of love. So according to Lord Brahma, it's no longer Paramatma. When you become a pure devotee, Syamasundar is there in the heart, not the Paramatma. Paramatma is there for the conditioned souls. It's like in the spiritual world, there's no Paramatma. There's no Paramatma in the spiritual world. They have, because they're all pure devotees, right? When we leave Krishna, Krishna is so kind, he never leaves us. He's there as Paramatma. But when we become a pure devotee, then Paramatma leaves and Syamasundar is there. Interesting. So this is the goal, to be completely absorbed in Krishna. And then Paramatma doesn't have to follow us around waiting for us to surrender. We made it. Then Syamasundar goes there. So this is the goal, to make it. We're trying to make the finish line. Yeah. Just like when Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when he passed away, what was it? Jayaveta Swami said he crossed the finish line. He made it. Yeah. 4 regular principles, 16 rounds a day. If we do that, we cross the finish line. We made it. Prabhupada promised that you follow the 4 regular principles, you chant 16 rounds a day, then you made it. You crossed the finish line. You made it back home. It's a very difficult thing in Kali Yuga to do that, to do those 5 things. In Kali Yuga, very difficult. So we got to be really focused. Got to focus on Krishna. So, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. That Prabhupada, he wanted that there be brahmanas in the society. This is what would help society more than anything else. Leaders. But there's the brahmanas, the kshatriyas, the vaishyas, and sudras. So in a varnashram society, the brahmanas, they're big in the society. Very respected and very devoted and very humble. That was the problem. In Kali Yuga, they lost their humility because of the age of Kali. So there's practically no brahmanas now in society. It's even mentioned that in Kali Yuga, demons take birth as brahmanas. Yeah. And therefore we see in India, the brahmanas don't allow Vaishnavas into the temples, many temples. And what do? They laugh at you. Sudras. Like I was at one temple in Udupi, that temple in Udupi. And there was 3 brahmanas, young brahmanas there, and they saw me, Dodi Kirta. And one of them pointed out to the other, look, and one of them said, Gunda. said to me, Gunda, because I'm white skinned and I'm wearing dhoti. Yeah. Gunda. So I just, continued on my way. But that's what they think. Anybody that has white skin, Gunda. Because they know there's so much sinful activity, just nonsense. But they don't know that one can overcome sin and become a Vaishnava. It's not by birth, it's by qualities. Yeah. Prabhupada pointed out there's so many brahmanas, they're eating fish and smoking bidis, but if someone comes and has been practicing Krishna consciousness strictly for 50 years, no, Gunda. It's amazing. There's no brahmanas, practically no kshatriyas, because the kshatriyas, they're taking guidance from the brahmanas and they're protecting the cow. They're protecting society. Kshatriya means they give protection. Yeah. So there's practically no kshatriyas. Even the Vaishyas. Vaishyas, they engage in cultural activities. They protect the cow. Right? There's practically no Vaishyas. Sudras? A lot of Sudras. So you can see the picture. Brahmanas are the head. The Kshatriyas are the arms. The belly is the Vaishyas. And the Sudras are the legs. So you get a picture. Huge legs. Yeah? Humongous legs. No head. No arms. No belly. Just humongous legs. Cover the whole universe. So this is the problem. That's why Prabhupada wanted brahmanas. Just legs. I mean, what a mess. So that's what our mission is, to put a head in society. And Prabhupada's, he's the best brahmana. Because when I distribute books, I tell Indians, they generally always have a Bhagavad Gita. And I said, tell them, well, this Bhagavad Gita, as it is, this is the one that made us Americans devotees. Europeans, Chinese, Russians, all over the world. And before Prabhupada came, there was already so many Bhagavad Gitas, hundreds. Nobody became a devotee. And even the translators weren't devotees. This is the problem. They weren't walking the talk. But Prabhupada, he walked the talk. And therefore he's still capturing so many. So on that note, is there any question? Do you try to find that where Krishna? Did you find it? The Uddhava. Yeah. Yes. You found it. All right. Yeah. Good. 11:7:29. Yeah. Although all people within the material world are burning in the great forest fire of lust and greed, you remain free and are not burned by that fire. You are just like an elephant who takes shelter from a forest fire by standing within the water of the Ganges River. Interesting, huh? And he was a householder. But he said, say it again, with the exception. What did he say? Although all people within the material world are burning in the great forest fire of lust and greed, you remain free and are not burned by that fire. You remain free. He doesn't say only you, but it makes it kind of gives that impression. Like that. You are transcendental. So any question or comment? Yes.
Just wanted to touch on a particular point. The one from Advice Maharaj, that he said, if you follow the four regular principles and chant 16 rounds, then you're guaranteed that. Recently we were listening to Brahmacharya Katha, and it was saying how there are many 8 types of illicit sex, even thinking of a woman, or those kinds of seeing a woman in a lustful way. All those things they correspond with illicit sex. So I was curious, does that bar somebody from does that also count in terms of the following 4 regular principles and chanting 16 around, returning back home to God? If somebody's still doing that, will they even if they aren't like committing the gross type, if they're still committing that type. Like, it's a very technical question, but I was curious.
Well, in the age of Kali, we don't get a reaction for a sinful thought. In other ages, even for a sinful thought, you get a reaction. Like, who was that? There was one, Parashurama's father could understand that his wife had some illicit desire towards another demigod, I think it was. And he knew. And he told one of his sons, kill her. And he wouldn't do it. And he told another son, kill her. I guess those were the two older ones. And he told Parashuram, kill her. And he did. That's amazing. Killed his mother, and that's pretty heavy. So then he was so pleased with his son. He said, I'll give you any boon you like. He said, please give me the boon that my mother and I think also killed the brothers also, right?
About that. I just know about the mother.
I think so, right?
I don't think the brothers were killed.
No?
I think they might have been banished or
something. There was something about the brothers too. Anyway, that she comes back to life without knowing that I killed her.
Yeah.
He got that boon, so she came back to life. I'm almost sure that he also killed because they disobeyed the father, and killed him as well, and he did, and they all came back to life. Because he knew the power of his father. He's smart. Parashuram was smart. Don't disobey him. Amazing. Huh? But yeah, we have to get free of that also. Subtle desire. If we keep the transcendental vibration going, you know, this will replace all the garbage. Yeah. Because you know the Parikit Maharaj, he's fasting for 7 days, and everybody there fasted for 7 days, no water. How is that possible? Because they got the higher taste. Just like the 6 Goswamis, they're also very austere. How is it? Because they were relishing the nectar of the pastimes of Krishna. Yeah. They were relishing the nectar. So that's how they were surviving. They were experiencing the nectar that was going into their ears, and this nectar, and it was, you know, this is their survival. Yeah. It's like that Lord Ramachandra had, there was that one devotee of Lord Ram, he would only drink when he would see Lord Ram. But then he went off on some business somewhere for 7 days. I think it was 7 days. Didn't drink or eat anything because he took that vow. Amazing. And then when Ram came back, Lakshman had heard about that. He told him about this great devotee of yours. He hasn't drank or eaten for 7 days because you were gone. That's when he gave him the deity of Ram. It's still being worshipped somewhere in India, I think South India somewhere. Because there's so much love. It's amazing. That's something to aspire for. Okay.
Tim Prabhu had a question.
Oh, yes. Question online. Tim.
Thank you for the class. Not so much a question, but just a few comments. The first one, thank you so much for elaborating on Paramatma and Shamasundar and the difference between the two. I didn't know about that before, and it makes a lot more sense now. And then the other part was in regard to lust being the seed of our material existence. And if we're living in the material world, then we have to deal with time. In that regard, I was reading in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 10th chapter, I think, Swayambhuva Manu's talk with Dhruva Maharaj. And in one of the purports, Prabhupada had quoted Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you may be familiar with this one, but at any rate, your class reminded me of this quote, which was, "My friend, you are being washed away in material nature's waves of time. Please try to understand that you are the eternal servant of the Lord, then everything will stop and you will be eternally happy." That's all I had. Thank you so much for class.
Thank you, thank you. The waves of time, just like we have waves of water, and the surfers like to ride the waves. So they're also riding the waves of time. And in this period of time, someone may become a prime minister of India. Wave of time, become prime minister, and then another wave comes, he becomes a dog in Sweden, which actually happened. It was astrologer found it. It was in Nehru. I think it was Nehru. Another wave comes, become a dog in Sweden. So these waves are coming, and we're being washed around and suffering so much. So we want to get out of this ocean. And as we heard last night, Krishna comes and he picks us up out of the ocean of material existence and takes us back home. Prabhupada said Krishna will come and he'll grab your sika. He said that. You have to have a good sika. He's got a good one. His father told him to cut it, but he's not obeying. Our real father wants you to have a sika. Good. You got to